Hello, mathematicians. Today we are going to use elimination again to solve systems of equations. As we've discussed before, in order to use elimination, you have to have opposites, so one of your variables eliminates. Today, however, we are going to have to make the opposites. If we look here, none of our x's or y's cancel yet. So I need to find a pair that I can easily make opposites by multiplying. If I look at my x's, I have 6x and 3x. What can I multiply 3x by to be the opposite of 6? A negative 2. If I multiply the bottom by negative 2, I will get a negative 6x. And then I'll have these able to cancel. So the top will stay the same. 6x minus 2y equals 10. And now on the bottom, when I multiply this by negative 2, I must multiply all parts by negative 2. So I'm going to multiply each by negative 2. So this one will become negative 6x. Here will become plus 14y. And negative 19 times negative 2? Positive 38. Now do we have opposites? Yes. So if I make this a big addition problem, what happens with our x's? They will cancel. Negative 2y plus 14y. 12y equals 10 plus 38. 48. Lastly, to find y, we will divide by 12. What I do on one side, must do to the other. Y equals 4. Now that I know what y is, how do I find x? Plug it back in. It doesn't matter which of these you plug it into. I always like to plug it right back to the top so I have a pattern. So I have 6x minus 2 times our new y is 4 equals 10. So take our y, plug it back in. 6x minus 2 times y equals 10. 6x minus 8. What do I need to do next? Plus 8. 6x equals 18. And lastly, divide by 6, divide by 6. X equals 3. To solve, create your opposite by multiplying. Multiply each piece, find your y, plug it back in to find x. Nice job. Try this next one on your own. Create opposites and then use elimination to solve. Let's see how you did. Here you have two different options. I could either make the m's opposites very easily, or I could make the n's opposites very easily. Depending on which one you do, your problem may look different. However, your answer will still be the same. Let's make our m's opposite. If I want to make these opposite, what must I multiply the bottom by? Negative 3. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9, which is the opposite. Does the top need to change at all? No. The top stays. However, the bottom, if I multiply this one by negative 3, what else must we do? Multiply each piece by negative 3. So, our first one, negative 3 times 3m, negative 9m. Negative 3 times 2, negative 6n. Negative 3 times 4 times negative 4, positive 12. Go ahead and add your pieces. What happens with our m's? They cancel. What do we get with our n's? N plus -6. Remember, this is a 1 there. Negative 5n equals 13 plus 12, 25. Solve for n we must. Divide by -5. N equals -5. How do we solve and find m now? Plug it back in. So 9m plus n. What did we have for n? -5 equals 13. How do I get rid of a -5? Add 5. 9m equals 18. And lastly, divide by 9. M equals 2. Create your opposites, solve, plug it back in to find your solution. Nice job. Now the two examples we just did, we only had to multiply 1 to get opposites. Here, we don't have anything that I can just multiply 1 to get the other. All right? So I need to look at them, and it, again, does not matter which variable you choose to look at. So I can look at my x's or my y's. It's up to you which one you choose to eliminate. Okay? If we look at x's, what can we make 5 and 2? What do both 5 and 2 go into? 10. So I'm going to make the top 10 and the bottom -10. So if I want to make this 5 a 10, what do I have to multiply by? 2. And if I multiply this one by 2, I have to multiply all of them by 2. So let's go ahead and multiply by 2. 10x minus 6y equals 12. Now I want to make the opposite of 10, so I need this to be a -10. How do I make the 2x become a -10? Times by -5. And if I multiply this one by -5, must multiply all of them by -5. So let's multiply them all by -5. Here we get -10x plus 25y equals -50. Go ahead and we're going to add down. These will cancel. Here, what will we get for our y's? 19y equals 12 and -50, -38. Lastly, divide by 19. Y equals -2. Now that we know what y is, how do we find x? Plug it back into the top. So I'm going to rewrite this. 10x minus 6 times y is now -2 equals 12. So I have 10x minus 6 times -2 comes up plus 12. Minus 12 minus 12. 10x equals 0. X equals 0. Create your opposites. Here we had to multiply both of them by something in order to get these to be opposite. Solve, plug it back in to find your solution. For the last one, we do not have equations yet. Okay? But we're given some information. So we need to first come up with our two systems. So a number x plus a number y equals 15. Let's make that into an equation. It should be x plus y equals 15. Now we're going to make our second one. Twice the first number, so what should that look like? 2x plus 3 times the second. What should that look like? 3 times y is equals 38. Go ahead and eliminate a variable and solve. Let's see how you did. It would be very easy to eliminate the x's or the y's. So depending on your multiplication, you may have chose to eliminate y's, or you may have chose to make the x's eliminate. So your problem might look different, but your answer will be the same. Let's get our x's to eliminate. So if this one's 2, what does this one have to be? A negative 2. If I multiply this one by negative 2, I had to multiply all of them by negative 2. So this one will change. Negative 2 times x, remember there's just a 1 there, so it becomes negative 2x. Negative 2 times y, negative 2y. And lastly, negative 30. This one does not need to change at all. There we have our opposites. These will cancel. Y's we will have 1y equals 8. Now all we need to do is solve, plug it back in. So I have negative 2x minus 2 times y, which is 8 now, equals negative 30. So take our 8, plug it back in. Again, it doesn't matter which one you plug it into. I just like to get in the habit of plugging it into the top. So I have negative 2x minus 16. Add 16 on both sides. Negative 2x equals negative 14. Divide by negative 2. X equals 7. Write the equations based off of our information. Multiply so we get opposites. And solve. Nice job today, mathematicians.